This one is short. That is on purpose, and by the end, you'll understand why. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Rivka Edery, and today we're going to talk about day 3. Yesterday, you did day 3. You sat down. You did the somatic baseline. You touched each card. You drew the map. You measured your gaps. You wrote your geometry sentence. You froze the map, and you turned the cards over. And you felt nothing. No jolt, no weight, no heat in the hands. Nothing pulled at you. You didn't see anything. You had no images, no audio or visual intuition came through. You went through all 5 steps like someone filling out a form at a doctor's office. And then you sat back and you thought some version of, nothing is happening. Is this working? Am I doing it wrong? Good. I mean that plainly, not as a consolation. That is not the sound of failure. That is the sound of the instrument working correctly. And today, I'm going to explain why. And then I'm going to let you go because there is not much more to say about it, and I refuse to pad it. Let me put the two things side by side because people conflate them, and the conflation is what makes them quit. On the left, what you felt. No jolt, no weight, no pull, no visual, no auditory, no sensory. You completed all 5 steps, and the session was uneventful. And so you suspect you did it wrong. On the right, what that actually means. Your hands are correctly reporting a neutral field. Go back to the somatic filter. There are 4 signals in it, and I want you to notice that we named all 4 for a reason. The jolt, sharp resistance. The weight, concentrated heaviness. The cognitive override, that feeling of reaching, of preference, which is you catching yourself. And the 4th, the absence, flat, neutral, zero sensation. The absence is on the list. It is not what happens when the list fails to apply. It is an entry on the list. It has a name and it has a required action. Keep shuffling, set the card aside, which means the method anticipated it, planned for it, and told you what to do about it. So when you report that you felt nothing, you're not reporting a malfunction. You are reporting a result. It is one of the 4 things that can happen, and it happened. Here is the argument, and it is the only one you need. An instrument that always reads positive is broken. Think about a smoke detector. If your smoke detector went off every single day, every day, without fail, whether or not there was any smoke, you would learn nothing at all from it going off. You'd stop hearing it. Its alarm would carry no information because an alarm that always sounds is indistinguishable from no alarm at all. What makes a smoke detector valuable is precisely that it is silent almost all of the time. The silence is not the detector failing. The silence is the detector doing its job day after day and honestly reporting, hey, no smoke. And it is exactly that long record of honest silence that makes the one day it screams worth running for. Your hands are the instrument. If your hands lit up every single day, if every session produced a jolt, every card carried weight, every layout felt charged, you would not have a sensitive instrument. You would have a broken one. You would have an instrument that says yes, regardless of input, and an instrument that says yes, regardless of input, is not detecting anything. It is just agreeing with you. The quiet days are what make the loud ones mean something. Let me show you the fork in the road. because you're standing on it right now, today. And the choice you make is going to shape everything that follows. 2 people sat down for day 4. Both of them felt nothing. The first one wrote down that they felt nothing. They logged the neutral field. They wrote a flat geometry sentence. They closed the session. Now they have one honest data point. They are 4 days into building a baseline. And when a real signal finally arrives, and it will, they will recognize it because they will have something to compare it against. They will know what nothing feels like, which is the only way to know what something feels like. The second person felt nothing and could not tolerate that. So they went looking. They pressed a little harder on the decks, on the cards. They interpreted a slight tingle. The tingle everyone's hands produce all the time from ordinary circulation as a signal. They found something because a person who needs to find something always will. And now, that person has an invented data point sitting in their log. And here is the fail part. It is indistinguishable from a real one. It looks the same on the page. In 3 weeks, when they lay their maps side by side to look for patterns, they will not be able to tell which entries were honest and which were manufactured. The whole record is compromised, and it was compromised on day 4 by a small act of self-kindness that felt at the time like effort. Worse, they have begun training the hand to perform. Hands are obliging. Ask them for a signal every day, and eventually they will supply one every day. That is not sensitivity. That is a well-trained hand giving its owner what it has learned she wants. Be the first person. It costs you nothing today, and it is worth everything later. Practical question, and then I'll stop. If nothing happened, what do you actually write? You write that nothing happened in full in the fields. Something like hands neutral throughout, no jolt, no weight, layout even, widest gap left of center, no card near an edge. That is a complete day 4. Every field is filled. Nothing is invented. You log it and you close the session and you go and do something else with your evening. But hear this next part, because there is a failure mode hiding on the other side of today's lesson, and I do not want you to walk out of here and fall straight into it. A blank page is not honesty. It is a missing measurement. Do not skip the log because the session was uneventful. Do not leave the geometry sentence empty because the geometry was ordinary. Do not write nothing across the page and shut the book. The uneventful day still has a layout. It still has a widest gap and a tightest one. It still has cards near edges or no cards near edges. And no cards near an edge is itself a fact worth recording. The neutral session is not an excused absence from the log. It is an entry in the log. Fill it in completely, exactly as you would on a day when your hands were on fire. The discipline is identical. Only the content differs. That is the whole lesson. And I told you it was short. Nothing happened. Good. Write down that nothing happened in full in the fields. Close the session. Come back tomorrow. You are not asked to believe. You're asked to record. Tomorrow is a long one, the longest we have done, and it is a real piece of work. Bring your deck and set aside a proper block of time for it. I will see you there.